Time to suspend your disbelief once again. Welcome back, everyone. Kind of rebalanced the audio a little bit, so if it comes off a little quiet, I apologize. I'll fix that. I don't know what YouTube's compression is gonna do to it. Yeah. Otherwise, this is your goddess Cerebellite. We're bringing you once again back into the world of In Other Waters. I hope you all are taking good care of yourselves. I'm certainly trying my best. I am running a bit of a fever right now, so forgive me if my dialogue quality is subpar, but you can deal with that. Feel free to like, comment, and subscribe if you enjoyed, though, and share with your friends if you think they'll like my kind of content. Just more peaceful stuff. Though there are horror games I kind of do want to play, I don't think I'll ever play them for the channel. But we'll see. I really like being scared. I'm scaredy pants. Vast shape. The light of the system's three suns falls into something amber and huge to the east. It's almost like a pale orange cloud. I wanted to continue down this path for a reason. Shifting tentacle. This translucent tentacle doesn't have a fixed shape. Its individual parts spread instead cycle through developmental phases as they cohere. Goodness. Floating colony. These golden yellow streams of light around south. Oh, this creature is impossibly large. I don't even know how to start logging data on it, but I'll try. There are literally gigantic creatures on Earth. This is nothing, hun. These gold yellow streams of life shift around solid objects held suspended in the water. Are these bones, rocks, or something else? There's cashews. Is it cashews that are a colonial species, so they get huge, like, small town-sized? There's also that one mushroom colony that I think is called, I think it's southern honey shroom or something like that? I don't know. That also has just this huge mycelium, where it'll cover an entire forest with mycelium. I've heard it tastes good, though. The mushrooms in it are edible. Whatever its name was. Pulsing barrier. This hard barrier is webbed with pulsing nodes. To gain access, one would need to slice through it somehow. Oh, goodness. What are we looking at here? This appears to be a huge colonial life form. So yeah, colonial species. Those things can get ridiculously huge. There are passengers inside, but unless we can cut through the barrier, we can't reach them. Oh, so we gotta cut our way into a Wraith Hive ship or something like that. We have no means of cutting yet. Floating colony. This golden colony is overwhelming. Where to even begin? Thousands, maybe hundreds of thousands of zooids make up its shifting interior. It seems that the zooids, or zoids, are split into specialized functions and forms, from jellyfish-like medusoids to balloon-like bladders of gas. Fascinating as fuck. Alright, so we don't have a way to cut yet. Actually, we do, don't we? We do have a bladed means of cutting. Don't we? That's bright pollen, that's not what I need. Twisted tendrils, I don't need that. haven't figured it out yet. I'm looking for one of their feathers. From the gardeners. I think it's worth a shot, right? That's what I figured, at least. I really need to get myself a proper mic instead of using my built-in, but soon. Eventually. Whatever not. What's here? Shed feather. And that's shimmering petals. I'm gonna head back there. Bright pollen. Bright pollen. Open ocean. It's worth a shot at the very least, I figured. Small dead island here. Maybe I could play some, like, light horror games, like, one of the Dead Island games or something like that. Where it's more silly than horror. Worth a shot. Nope, that didn't do it. Alright. I did see that there, on the map, was there another sample candidate over down here for the, boreworm. Don't know where quite exactly it is relative to this area, but it would be within their territory, obviously. I kind of wished I had a larger map at first, but I'm growing accustomed to just not. It's just chitin plates. Tender holes. Showed it pretty far south, so I might as well. Is this it? Unknown, yay. Shed tail. Alright, that sounds like what we were looking for. Oh, goodness. I'll have some raiding to be doing. Pillarworm, taxonomy. Pillarworms, part of Animalia. Sectiotea, Denea, segment worms. Alright, now we can check out the theories. Dissection of a pillarworm's tail has shed light on their hunting and feeding behaviors. The tail itself is made from many panels of bright, translucent chitin. Given the tail's brightness and the way it waves in the current, it's reasonable to conclude that the worm is using it as a lure. I figured as much. It could be an effective tool for the worm to attract small grazers to the tunnel's mouth with, before pouncing from the burrow and pulling its prey into the hole with it. However, the tail might serve another function too, as a countermeasure against predators. Was this specimen bitten off or willingly injected? Either way, the pillarworm remains always good at hiding its secrets within those dark burrows. And now we get to see the little bugger. Swimming fans, grooved shell segments, dark leaf marking, feeding mandibles. So where's the lure? I'm presuming... Well, it did say brighter, so it must be that final segment that is the brighter one. The band around it. Otherwise, it's a worm. It looks kind of like that, what is it? Trying to remember what it's technically called. I know it's not the hammerhead worm. That's currently an invasive one here in the U.S. Or was that a different one? I don't know. I am horrendous with names, so forgive me if this takes a while. But it is cool to see our little creatures at last. Dark leaf markings. Or their armor. Interesting little armor plating on their heads. I love seeing all that. Alright. Well, that's what we came here for, so back to the dive map. And Eve's in the lab. I do like how we see exactly where they are. East Reef. Yeah, we had nothing on that big colony earlier. We could further investigate for these. Table stalk crow. I have a feeling we're gonna have to go down and over for that one. Which I'm perfectly fine doing. I can't remember. Did I need shrill sacks to go south here? Don't remember needing to, but we will know in a half second. We needed shrill sacks. The limited inventory is harsh, but... So where was the nearest shrill sack I could harvest? I think it was over here. There we go. They're always so plentiful. Nope, can't reach that. Is it just mirror that? Power. Consume my power real quick. Power oxygen. No, not that way. Is my pod getting worse with time? That's a disconcerting thought. Also, that's breathing, I think. rift is right there. Oh yeah, I had to go around for that. So yeah, keep this right. How is it we made it over there? Okay. I swear there was... I must be crazy. There must be another rift I'm thinking about. That is definitely breathing we're hearing, isn't it? We're using so much power so quickly, it just doesn't seem right. Okay, so yeah, this is the other rift entrance. Deep rift. This central reef is deep and wide, and its current running down is relentless. Try to get through this section quickly. The spores and other particles leave greasy streaks on the faceplate of my helmet as they hammer into it. Violent currents. The snow creaks as I lean into the flow. And the unbroken walls ahead suggest nothing worth risking my life for. Just keep going. Broken cap. Unknown fungal tissue sample. Alright, I should probably actually reset this mushroom-shaped stalk covered hours besides the rift, its cap broken and segments of it sit in sand. Could I sample one here? Alright, so yeah, that's... Well, that's that one we found. Was there any further we could go? I don't remember seeing it. But we'll know in a second. Yeah, I didn't think I did. Alright, is that time to head back then? Alright. Definite cleanup duty as far as this research material goes. But better to get it done than not. Nope. Put it in storage first. Taxonomy. Reef cap. Analysis of reef cap tissue shows that the reef caps maintain a bacterial symbiont within a series of internal chambers, which, while unique to Gliese 667cc, resembles scum? A large cell bacteria found in the stomachs of terrestrial surgeonfish. Oh, so that was Epulaps lapis Epulap Epu Epulaps lapis scum. Epulaps lapis. I'm never gonna pronounce it right. I'm gonna call it Apple. Helps certain fish break down algae effectively, and the reef cap's bacteria seems to do the same, with traces of algae-like growths found within the cap chambers. Where this algae is coming from, however, the caps receive it. This algae is allowing the caps to grow bacteria colonies, which could then reduce themselves to endospores when the algae is digested. These endospores are then released to the stalks in the local area to renew strength of their colonies. This is an incredible recycling system for protecting the ecosystem. So, since we've not seen the algae here ourselves, it makes me wonder if the reef caps are cultivating both this bacteria and the algae, which is what my leading theory is so far. Kind of plate sutures, spore-releasing gills, supported reef stalks, endospore chamber, section view. Alright, so my headcanon is that it is growing both the algae and the endospores. So maybe like the algae here and the endospores there, which then it feeds as needed to produce the spores. Cool. Very cool. Alright, so those two are somewhere in there that I've somehow not encountered. Table stalk and sing stalk. It's closer to this one, so I might as well head there. I kind of want to be a completionist about this because, well, I genuinely like seeing all these different creatures. I've probably said that 1,000 times now. Well, you can all just sit back and hear me rant and deal with it. This is what you've signed up for. I had to go this way for it, didn't I? It's not just me, it's the power supply actually going down, like, much faster. Vector blocked. There we go. Rift mouth. Here, a rift meets the exposed reef edge. What caused this huge slash into the shelf? Surely not just erosion. Rift crossing. Across the channel is a gap in the rock wall. If the strong currents rushing down the rift can be navigated, we can cross here. We'll navigate first. Because that just sounds more like it. Rock gap. A shattered section of the wall allows passage into the outcrop. And of course, already burned through that. Not huge danger. Worn boulders. These huge stones have been worn smooth by thousands of years of sitting beside the rift. Quiet clearing. This section of the shelf is sheltered by a small headland to the north. It's strangely peaceful. Stalk barrier. Behind these thickly entwined stalks, a violent current can be heard rushing down through the gap in the headland. Alright, so I need a shrill sack, and then I need to do with the propulsion again. There. strong current. This water is funneled into the rocks by into this clearing, making it hard going against the current. Sheltered passage. A large boulder protects the mouth of this passage from the onrushing waters. Rag stalk. Battered by the water, these stalks cling onto the rocks. A single creature braves the currents to graze on their twisted forms. Damn it. I have trill sacks on me. I can just use those for some extra oxygen if I need it. Canopy top. Attached to the side of the shelf, this canopy is partially bent by the currents. If we are careful, we can get a sample of the growth from the top. New sample, fungal seed. I'm gonna quickly zoom back while I have fuel. Calm canyon. Little streams of sand pipe through the gaps in the rocks, here driven deep into the cracks by the currents to the north. Alright, it looks like I can just navigate this one without complaint. Wide passage. This gap between the rocks allows passage both into and out of this exposed section. A second finger of the reef. It's a good old table stalk. Rift edge. Another rift separates the second and third fingers of the roof. Looked over by the ragged stalk colony. No, I had it right. The ragged stalk colony that shed particles into the flow. Strong currents. I do that again. Strong current here is both exhilarating and terrifying, like standing on a cliff top and leaning into the wind. Yes, indeed. Rift mouth is long rift channels the strongest currents down through the reef, all the way to the nurseries of the southern reef. And that's there. That's a place we've been before. That's cool to see it all the way back around. We've already been in this area, so we could just link back. There is the other sample we need to get that is south of it. But we could use the refill on the oxygen and power. Because there's nothing ever wrong with taking a little break when you need it. Table stock taxonomy, yay. Our fungal table stock theories. Laboratory studies of the growth found in the upper colony reveal that they contain the genetic material of 10 different species. Oh, that's cool. These growths hold within their round casing seeds for many species local to the table stock, as well as the spores for the reproduction of the stalk colonies themselves. Fed by the carefully maintained flow of the wrecked minerals and chemicals, these seeds and spores are preserved by the stalks, kept viable for long periods. Could these seed banks be a complex example of collective serotonin? Species helping each other reproduce, if I remember correctly. On Earth, some plants hold viable seeds until an environmental trigger, such as a wildfire or disease. Such as a wildfire or disease causes their release. Perhaps the stalks are preserving the local ecology in case of environmental disaster. Are they the guardians of the reef? Oh my goodness. This would be so cool to see in the real life. Entwined canopy. I did not expect it to look like that. I don't know what I expected anymore, but color and type of variation within entwined stalks, captured seed banks, reef stalks. Oh, that's cool. That's just cool as hell. The seed banks of the nature. It's kind of like how squirrels just bury their seeds. Alright. Medbay. Not active. Alright. Okay, so what? Yeah, because I'd made it all the way up there, so I went too far. So yeah, I just need to swing by there again. Nothing too complex. Probably would have been faster just to turn around, but I didn't know the exact location of it. I have to plan my routes here. By call. Exoplanet extraction. I can't wait till humanity has access to different spaceships and stuff like that. I personally love just seeing all the different worlds out there, especially life-bearing ones like this. Although I do recognize that they would be rare, probably. Because, the coincidental formation of life was already, in itself, quite the miracle. White sand has gathered against the boulders on either side of this passage, in soft, pale drifts, sandy passage. Split stalk. This tall stalk is torn open, perhaps by a predator. Inside, a rich tapestry of fungal life forms exposed to the open waters are slowly dying. Yeah, that's a perfect sample candidate if I ever heard one. Fungal cluster, a cluster of creatures sampled from the interior of a stalk. Even if it's just predatory creatures, which, yes, predator creatures don't have to necessarily be bigger than what they're preying upon. Yeah. I mean, to be fair, there are species of, like, owls that will prey upon deer. At least one in particular comes to mind. I cannot remember its name for the life of me, though. But there is one. Thing stalk anatomy. Taxonomy. We already know its anatomy. Although, to be fair, we learn a lot more now. Attempts to analyze the interior of the thing stalk reveal many different organisms within the stalk that are not genetically related to it in any way. It seems like that the host silk stalks are actually tubular gardens, which host juvenile fungal creatures. The swaying of the stalks keeps these sealed environments fed with filtered water and microbial life, while allowing their spores to be distributed across the reef. However, I haven't found a single example of any of these life forms growing outside of the sing-song, suggesting that they can only survive within these carefully controlled tube gardens, and that the spores they release are being used by the stalks for other purposes. So maybe, so in nature, this is not a super rare occurrence. I mean, the mitochondria, the powerhouse of the cell, also was originally a separate species. In fact, they even still do their own DNA and genetic reproduction, if I remember correctly. But I know for sure they do their own DNA. I just can't remember if they technically do their own reproduction or not. But yes, they are an example of a species which cells absorbed because it was better at making energy. It ate it and realized, oh, I can get ATP from this. There's actually other ways to produce ATP as well, such as purple photosynthesis is often recognized as producing ATP directly instead of glucose or something like that. I find that absolutely fascinating, and now to check out these sing-songs. Spore release. Fungal symbiotes. Full of them. Singing chitin plates. Yeah. Young sing stalks. Typical reef stalk. Internal fungal colony. So it stores the internal fungal colony below it until it's ready to expand out to become a proper sing stalk, where it moves further inside, I presume. I'm loving this game way too much as it pains my tongue to do this much reading. We've 100%ed everything, so let's head forward. Transitioning. No. Alright, let's brave the cliff. I feel like we're going to be going down. Northern Rift. The Northern Rift is the largest of the cuts into the central reef. Crossing it without some way of navigating its currents would be suicide. Yeah, thankfully we have one of those. Impressive. They split this shelf into... It's incredibly wide and deep. Deep, that's what she said. Okay, well, here goes nothing. Start up the propulsion system and let's cross. Yeah. Strong currents. The flecks of spores and other organic material whip past in the currents, dragged into the dense stalk patches to the west. Oh yeah, speaking of strong currents, fun fact about trees is their root systems, for at least the ones I've all read about, are adaptive. So they will adapt their root density, or how deep they go, by how strong the air currents have been. So the more stress they go through from wind and stuff, the firmer they'll root. So in areas of low wind, tornadoes can deal a lot more damage when an occasional tornado does happen. This massive split in the ocean seems almost too violent to be natural. Both sides are almost impossible to see from the center point. Of course, my ranting has led me to use a bit more oxygen, but you can take that just fine. Sheltering pillar. This pillar, risen up from the ocean floor, deep below, provides shelter from the rift. There's something on the other side, a huge green cloud rising up from the shelf. Less dramatically scattered than the central reef, the northern shelf slopes down gently. That must be the bloom. Oh, it's the bloom Mene was talking about. The northern shelf slopes down gently through layers of sediment. Bloom edge. The green wall of a vast bloom of some kind rises up ahead, swirling and obscure. Is it going to be another massive colonial species? The bloom. What ecological crisis spawned this green mass? How is it connected to the reef? The answers are anywhere there inside. Oh. The water inside is totally anoxic. The suit's rebreather can't function. Well, we'll have to run on reserve oxygen while we're inside this place. Damn. Alright, I got some shrill sacks for emergency oxygen, because... Oh, that goes better. Bulbous and shiny, these formations sit under a coating of green filaments and growth. Oh, goodness. I've already burned through all that. Filtering fan. The water here is both highly oxygenated and temporarily filtered of its toxic microbes by the fan. There's life still hanging on inside this toxic bloom, creating safe zones in order to thrive. Perhaps these creatures can help us learn how to exist in these toxic conditions. So we're gonna upgrade our filter with this, friends. Let's take some samples to see what effects they have on the bloom when we deploy them. Pale fan. These pale, delicate fans are almost bone white against the outer green of the blooms. Maybe sampling available. It's a new item. Fan dust. Bloom oxygenated dust harvested from a filtering fan. Can give us a small amount of oxygen, no power. If we deploy it, what does it do? Nothing. Well, that was worth a shot. Pale fan. Occasionally this fan shivers, releasing a flurry of green growths that have gathered amongst the gossamer spines. Something's here. Filtering fan. This fan sits among shards of rock, trembling in cyclical currents of the bloom. Yeah, it won't be in there for long, don't you worry. Fan dust. Silt drift. A rise of silver silt fills the depression created by the corroded rock shelf. The tip of the shell pokes above it. Is that an eye? Bivalve creature. This bronze shell sits half buried in sand. Oh, there's some kind of shelled creature hiding in the silt over there. Inside? We need to figure out how to tempt it out of its burrow. So I'm presuming this. Perhaps a sample from elsewhere in the bloom, something that reacts with the microbial growth itself. Inside it and how it can be tempted out. Toxic waters. Away from the rock outcrops and fans, the visibility in the bloom falls to near zero. Here, the rocky shell off of the reef flakes away into large fragile sheets with razor-sharp edges. Alright. I'm gonna guess... did not react. No, so yes, that does create a small bubble of air. Alright, rock edge. The shattered rocks catch microbial strings drifting in the water, draping themselves in a shifting web of hair. Alright. So that gets it to move. I prefer not to use this, so let's try to be quick about this. Toxic water is nothing but sharp rocks and green water. There. Oxygen. The bloom is fast. What could cause and sustain these processes on such a scale? A massive clonal species, I'm presuming. With oxygen gone, the microbes here must be metabolizing some other substance in order to persist. I'm presuming the toxin itself. Though arguably, fun fact, and this is a fun trick camels do. They don't store water in their humps. They actually store a type of fat in there. But here's the interesting thing. The fat is in a way where they actually get more water out of the fat when they metabolize it than the fat itself. So it stores more water than if it stored water itself. which is kind of funny. So the myth of them storing water in their humps is false, but they actually store more water than it in chemistry. Chemistry gets really weird, but I love it, and it's hilarious. Pale fan. These fans have to be filtering the water of the bloom to feed. Behind each one is a small area of clear, oxygenated water. Green storm to the north, the bloom whips around in cycles of heavy growth, like a thunderhead forming. Bivalve creatures, these creatures bury themselves to hide from the bloom's toxicity, making them one of the few life forms that can survive the bloom. Silt banks. The silt is gathered around the base of this wide outcrop, and the signatures of life forms buried within can be detected. So yeah, it reacts to that. Okay, so that's why it forms an oxygen bubble. It's the creature, not the dust. It's just using the dust to assist in feeding. And that feeding is what creates the oxygen bubble. Toxic waters. Among the green, I see tiny blue flashes occasionally flickering. Oh, so there's gonna be some life form there. Oh yeah, and I'm presuming we were getting power from the current, maybe? That's why that was helpful. Rock outcrop. Eaten away by the bloom, this outcrop is marked with hidden of tiny holes, so there's gonna be life on both sides of this. Alright, let's head down. Something's definitely gonna react to me here. No. Unless it's gonna want me to do something. No matter what. No matter if the... Okay, so the creature extends the duration significantly. That's important to know. Fan dust. I'm going to be using you plenty. I was hoping something would react to my presence there, but nothing did. Eaten away by the bloom, this outcrop just marked the top. So this is so toxic it's eating the rocks. There we go. Anchored to the flanking rock, this fan sways softly, dislodging clumps of the green growth as it does. There's a faint fizzing that emerges from these fans. It appears to be caused by the coating of their spines reacting to the bloom fan. Toxic waters. The currents of the bloom grow stronger as I move away from the rocky outcrops of the southern side. Another way? We're half oxygen. There. Silt drift. You there. Silt drift. A low silt drift provides just enough cover for a bivalve shell, which peeks out from beneath the pale waves of sand. In our world, clams actually do a lot of the water cleaning. So I wonder if this is going to be clam inspired. It just requires something else that it can acquire from its environment to assist it in its feeding process. Toxic waters. The green clouds drift above a rock floor honeycombed with holes. I gotta keep moving. Toxic waters. Refracted. Cast a shattered ground in a cool. Oxygen. Up ahead, I see you the fizzling membrane of oxygenated water. Okay. Is this what allows the species here to thrive in this constant toxicity? I mean, there's quite a few places like this level of toxicity on Earth, like the deep-sea volcanic vents, which my favorite creature of all time lives on. But I'm going to actually have to end it there for today. We're already running 50 minutes long. I hope you all take good care of yourselves, and feel free to like, comment, subscribe, and share the video if you enjoyed. I love you all. Bye for now. Bye. Yeah, I'm a brain mess. Have a good one.